Morning, good morning, good morning. Is doing well today, and we are moving on. Let's wait for this thing to start up here. Alright, so we are moving on to chapter 27 of this Holy Quran from the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. And let us begin. We are going to be discussing the holy unity of the rich and the poor. So to us, being rich and poor, that sounds like another dichotomy. But we're going to discuss the unity between the two and passion for the both of groups, correct? Sorry, little kitten is coming inside. Hi, Mama. It's really important to have compassion between the both of groups, and we're going to discuss why. We also talked about filling our shoes, right, with both sides, or really just taking up accountability and individuality in between dichotomies and not pitting against one another. But as we read this, it might be really easy to go ahead and pinpoint, right, this talk of the rich person and maybe even the poor people as well, but it's going to be really especially easy to pinpoint this rich person. So as those thoughts start to filter in and come in, let's make sure that we're remembering that compassion. And I would argue that all of us have been exuberantly rich in past lives before. All of us have also experienced a lot of poverty. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of us and many of us have. So it's important to fill our shoes and be compassionate, whichever way that we're discussing today. So let us go ahead and begin. This is chapter 27, the holy unity of the rich and the poor. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The man to whom Allah hath given riches, and blessed with a mind to employ them aright, is peculiarly favored and highly distinguished. He looketh on his wealth with pleasure, because it affordeth him protecteth the poor that are injured. He suffereth not the mighty to oppress the weak. He seeks out objects of compassion. He injureth into their wants. He relieveth them with judgments and without ostentation. He assisteth and rewardeth merit. He encourageth ingenuity, and liberally promoteth every useful design. He carrieth his own great works. His country is enriched, and his labor is employed. He formeth new schemes, and the arts receive improvement. He considers the superfluities of his table as belonging to the poor of his neighborhood, and he defraudeth them not. The benevolence of his mind is not checked by his fortune, but he rejoiceth therefore in riches, and his joy is blameless. But woe unto him that heapeth up wealth in abundance, and rejoiceth alone in the possession thereof, that grindeth the face of the poor, and considereth not the sweat of their brows. He driveth on the oppression without feeling, the ruin of brother disturbeth him not. The tears of the orphan he drinketh as milk, the cries of the widow are music to his ears. His heart hardened with the love of wealth, no grief or distress can make impression upon it. But the curse of iniquity pursueth him. He liveth in continual fear. The anxiety of his mind and the rapacious desires of his own soul take vengeance upon him for the calamities he had brought upon others. Oh, what are the miseries of poverty in comparison with the gnawings of this man's heart? Let the poor man comfort himself. Yes, rejoice, for he hath many reasons. He sitteth down to his morsel in peace. His table is not crowded with flatterers and devourers. He is not embarrassed with a train of dependents, nor teased with the clamors of solicitations. Debarred from the dainties of the rich, he escapeth also their diseases. The bread that he eateth is not so sweet to his taste. The water he drinketh is not so pleasant to his thirst. Yea, far more delicious the water than the richest draughts of the luxurious. His labor preserveth his health, and procureth him a repose, to which the downy bed of sloth is a stranger. He limiteth his desires with humility, and the calm of contentment is sweeter to his soul than all the acquirements of wealth and grandeur. Let not the rich, therefore, presume on his riches, nor the poor in his poverty yield to despondence. For the province of Allah dispenseth happiness to them both. This is the Holy Koran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali. So, interesting way to think about it, right? And if we just pick ourselves up off of the modern perceptions and the conceptions that we may have of our current state, we can really begin to examine that, although there may be faults in one and benefits of the other, those same faults and benefits can flip-flop, or the same weight of those faults and benefits can flip-flop, and it is important to have compassion in any situation and not to pass our judgments on any situation. So, very, very important. I know I said some harsh things before of like celebrities or people who accumulate, mass and mass amounts of wealth. And Jesus did say it is harder for the wealthy to enter the kingdom of heaven than it is for a camel to pass through an eye of a needle. So I know I was being very, very harsh on the celebrities about having, so much wealth and accumulation, but until we can really understand their position personally, right, we do not know the interworkings, right? Maybe they have a lot accumulated, but not a lot of, free wealth to go ahead and give out. Or maybe they do give out a lot of free wealth and help uplift the communities. When it talked about here about supporting the arts, right, employing people, enriching their country, I think that would go really well with like that of a celebrity or a musician or an artist, somebody very famous that uses their wealth for good and growth and beauty in the world. So nothing against these celebrities or athletes, even musicians. I don't want to make it seem like I have this vendetta against those or those who support those people. Again, it's just the point that I was going before was just managing our time appropriately so we're not keen to idolize certain people in a manner that it puts them above the Lord. That was the only point that I was making there. But this makes sense, and I hope you take your time if you are not understanding some of these giant words in here. I know I had to look up a few of them, so take your time with this and let it sit with you. We're going to move on to Song of Psalms, which is about love, and we're going to get into that here, leading with compassion, transforming our intuition and our feelings and emotions into love. And we're going to tell a little bit of a story with Song of Songs. I'll be with you in just a few minutes. Thank you.